the Phillies are going all in on pitching in the 2025 MLB Draft. Through 8 rounds so far, 8 pitchers have been selected to the Phillies, with Gage Wood being the main one. I'm Coy Camiscioli, Phillies Sports Talk, to break down the top 3 picks for the Phillies and give you some of their strengths and weaknesses and what I think of the picks. So, our first round pick, number 26 out of Arkansas, Gage Wood, right-handed pitcher. He was ranked number 23 according to MLB. And the big news around him is he threw the no-hitter in the College World Series, which is unbelievable. It was against Murray State. It was the first one in the tournament since 1960 and just the third one in history. So that's what got the attention. He's obviously a dog, loves the spotlight. But his true scouting report, he actually started out as a closer and he transitioned to a starter. So he has experience with both, which is good. His fastball sits in the mid-90s and can touch up to 98. And he also throws a curveball, slider, and split changeup, but mainly just that curveball is secondary pitch. I'll get to that in a second. He dealt with a shoulder injury early on this year, which limited his innings to just around 37, 37.2 or 37 and 2/3 innings pitched this season. But it didn't bother him down the stretch, obviously. But he went 4-1 this year, 3.82 ERA, struck out 69 batters in those 37 innings pitched, which is good for 16.5 Ks per 9. So some lights out stuff there. Fastball has a lot of light to it and a strong curveball as well. So a good 2-pitch mix, but he needs to work on that slider and changeup. If he can further develop one of those pitches, preferably even the changeup, they could be a pretty nasty mix for him. But I think he'll be able to develop both those pitches down the line. And again, 16.5 K per 9 in college in his senior season. There's a lot of potential with just those 2 primary pitches being his big pitch mix. So again, he preferably cannot come into the MLB with that 2-pitch mix. He's going to need to work on something unless he goes to the bullpen. There is some talk about him potentially being called up later in the year. I doubt we see that. That is incredibly rare for that to happen. Plus, again, he dealt with that shoulder injury. As I said, I think we'll just want him to stay healthy. Overall, I really like this pick. He just needs to work on those 2 other pitches, the slider and the changeup. And I think once he develops them, there's a lot of potential here for a big league starter, and at the very minimum, a good reliever, which obviously you're looking for more in the first round. But I think there's a lot more here with this Gage Wood pick. It's a great pick, so I like it. Second round pick, Cade Obermueller, left-handed pitcher out of Iowa. He was round 2, pick 63. Another very good pitcher. 5-3 with a 3.02 ERA this year in 15 games started, so he obviously was not limited compared to Gage Wood. 117 strikeouts in 83 innings, which is good for a 12.6 K per 9 rating. Another great fastball that can also touch 98. Has a lot of run with some late movement, and he leans heavily on his slider as well, especially against lefties. It's a really effective pitch and generates a lot of swing and miss from batters. Very deceptive delivery, which obviously makes it more difficult for hitters. Hides the ball very well. So I really like this one. Honestly, there's a chance that this guy could even be a better big league pitcher than Gage Wood, just off what you see from the pitch mix, his numbers in his final college season. Obviously, as a deceptive lefty, I think it's a very good pick. And the only concerns, there's some concerns around his build. 5'11", 170 pounds. There were, some MLB scouts, the whole thing was, can that, stature last a full MLB season, let alone, a full career? So there's some questions there for, in terms of a 162-game season. He is another 2-pitch guy. There is a changeup, but it needs some work. He relies mainly on the fastball slider. If he can develop that changeup as a left-handed pitcher, this guy could be really effective in the big leagues. And I'm really high in this pick at pick 63. I like this one a lot. So he'll definitely need to work on that 3rd pitch and to throw that into his repertoire. But I like this a lot. It seems like a pretty good pick, and we'll see what he can do. And then the last pick, Cody Baler, a right-handed pitcher out of Vanderbilt. So again, another pitcher off the boards. His numbers were a little bit more underwhelming, but there's some potential here. 3-5 with a 4.38 ERA in 16 games started. He gave up 14 home runs, which is a little concerning. But 99 strikeouts in 72 innings pitched were a 12.4 K per 9. So a lot of strikeouts from the top 3 picks for the Phillies. Again, another effective fastball with the low release that creates that rise through the zone, sitting in the low 9s. And again, it's another effective pitch. He used to be a two-way. He made the transition. He started out at Georgetown. Supposed to be a very good and coachable player. Probably going to be a good locker room guy. A good leader potentially in the clubhouse. If this guy were to make an impact at some point in the big leagues, he can throw a slider, cutter, and changeup. So he has a bigger pitch mix than some of our previous picks. But it's mainly just the fastball as of now, and that's why you see the ERA a little higher than our first two picks. But there's some potential with such a large pitch mix. He's going to have to work on that just like our first two picks. So a little inconsistent with those three pitches, other than the fastball. He's going to need to develop them. But again, I don't mind it. Taking three good pitchers with the first 3 rounds and hopefully 8 good pitchers in the total 8 rounds. These are just the three I've done a full breakdown on with their strengths and weaknesses. I'm not going to go beyond the first 3 picks because it just MLB draft is a lot. But I think I like the strategy. I'm not quite sure what the thinking is with all the pitchers. I'm going to guess, Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies are tired of having a weak bullpen, and maybe they can trade for bats down the line or sign bats in free agency or something, and that the pitchers have just been more tough to come by. Obviously the starting rotation has been lights out, but that bullpen has just been a problem for many years, and who knows if, the Phillies would have a reign or maybe even two if the bullpen was not as much of a problem as it was. So, again, I think this is a good strategy. I think they know what they're doing. And we were halfway through round 8 right now, and still not a batter has been selected for the Phillies. I'll check the live draft board as of now. Actually, wait, the draft has gone a little bit faster than I thought. We're now in round 10. And the Phillies have taken a batter. Round 9, they took Matthew Ferreira, the first batter off the board, shortstop out of Tom Rivers East High School, New Jersey. So, close to me, honestly. But it's good stuff for the Phillies. Again, I think I like what they're building in here. I think there's a lot of potential with these 3 pitchers, and we'll see what they can do. So, that's going to do it. Thank you guys for listening.